Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Gayatri Gunratna. As always, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
A Presidential Commission of Inquiry to look into the higher education sector. CEB workers commence an indefinite strike. Tensions run high with the closure of a sluice gate in a Mineria tank tributary. And Usain Bolt becomes the first Olympian to win the 100 meters and 200 meters twice over.
Well, now for those stories in detail. A group of farmers are charging that they have been severely inconvenienced by the closure of the sluice gate at one of the tributaries of the Mineral Reservoir by the Irrigation Engineer's Office. Now, tensions were running high in the LB4 distribution area following the closure of the gate.
We very badly need water.
That is being destroyed as there is no water supply.
The government has not provided us with any jobs or land, and now we are not receiving water either.
A group of farmers from the Bedumela Farmers Organization who depended on the LB4 waterway for water carried out this protest. This is the waterway which was dried up after concrete was used to close off the section from which the water was distributed. Disregarding requests made by the police, the farmers decided to break down the concrete and obtain water. News First made inquiries about the incident from the irrigation engineer at the Mineria Irrigation Engineer's Office, N.M. Ismail. He said that given the prevalent dry weather conditions, water would have to be distributed under close guard. Ismail said that an unidentified group had broken down the gate at the distribution point and had obtained water. He pointed out that the farmers and farm organizations were notified, adding that the concrete block was used to prevent further wastage of water. He pointed out that due to the incident which occurred today, water could not be effectively distributed, and as a result, farmers cultivating 2,500 acres of paddy using the B28 waterway were deprived of water.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa has decided to appoint a Presidential Commission of Inquiry to look into the higher education sector, including universities, and submit its report with its recommendations. The Presidential Media Unit announced that the prevalent situation in the higher education sector will be looked into and that the sector will be reorganized under an effective mechanism. Meanwhile, the head of state held a meeting with representatives of the Sri Lanka Independent Graduates Association this morning.
A decision was made at the meeting to permit graduates who were recruited from 1994 onwards to sit for the Sri Lankan Administrative Service Limited competitive examination. The Presidential Media Unit stated that a decision was also reached to recruit graduates of 2010 and 2011 under the program to grant jobs to graduates, which was implemented recently. Furthermore, the President highlighted the need to provide leadership training to the newly recruited graduates.
Well, workers at the Ceylon Electricity Board commence a strike at noon today based on several demands. Now, the CEB Joint Trade Union Alliance and the CEB Technical Services Trade Union are participating in this strike action.
Discussions held this morning between the General Manager of the CEB and the unions proved to be unsuccessful. The unions say that the government must provide them with a written guarantee that their salary arrears will be settled. We wish to tell the government that it cannot continue to deceive the CEB union members and leaders. We will definitely not halt this strike until we receive a written guarantee. On the 6th of July, we held discussions with the unions and reached an agreement that we would try to provide a solution within 4 months. The 4-month period concludes in the first week of November. They cannot bring us back to work unless a fair solution is provided. They must also rescind the letters they gave to workers who engaged in previous strikes. The workers who were suspended while on probation have been reinstated, but now they are asking us to rescind the letters cancelling holidays. That is not the duty of the Board of Directors. That is a letter issued by the General Manager as per the circulars in effect and the prevailing situation. A few minutes after noon, half of the country is in darkness. We are challenging them to provide electricity beyond midnight. It cannot be done. We have not received any information as yet that half the country is without power. Due to the emergency at the Norochole plant, we have lost 300 megawatts on the grid. Therefore, we have imposed power cuts of 2 hours and 15 minutes in various areas. Meanwhile, the chairman of the CEB said that engineers are working tirelessly to make the Norochole power plant operational by tonight. He added that the Kerawalpitiya power plant, which had not been functioning in the recent past, would be operational from tomorrow and would add 150 megawatts to the national grid. Furthermore, he noted that if the dry weather conditions persist and there is no rainfall and if problems persist at thermal power plants, then the current 2-hour 15-minute power cuts would have to be extended.
Moving on to other local news, Minister of Power and Energy Champika Ranawaka says that there is an issue in generating power due to the loss of 1,400 megawatts of hydropower.
We can generate a maximum of 1,300 megawatts through thermal power. This is due to various maintenance needs. If we take a look at the water levels in reservoirs, as at the 8th of August, the water level at Castlereagh stood at 7%, Mausekale 44%, Kotmale 41%, Victoria 7%, Randhanigala 19%, and the water level at the Samanala stood at 14%. Victoria and Randhanigala are two of our largest reservoirs. If we don't get rains within the next few days, we will have to stop generating power from these two reservoirs and we will have to face a serious issue.
දැන් තියෙන තත්ත්වය අනුව ඉදිරි දින කීපෙදී ඒ ජලාශ දෙකේ ජලය අලුතෙන්
Well, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has appointed a new chairman and a board of directors. The Minister of Petroleum Industries announced today that the appointments were made by the subject minister following the resignation of the former acting chairperson and board of directors.
Susantha Silva, Hans Vijayasuriya and Nalin Pettikiri make up the new board of directors. The new appointments came after the resignation of the previous chairman of the CPC, Dayananda Vidanagamachi, and the board of directors Lakshman Gunawardena, Metsiri Vijay Gunawardena and Champika Amarasekara. Incidentally, the Petroleum Corporation Trade Union points out that if these charges were made in connection with the importation of substandard diesel, then it is an unsuccessful attempt to solve the problem.
As a trade union, we know that Tilak Kolure was the chairman of the procurement committee which gave a contract to the Vitol company. If he was the chairman of the highest committee which imported substandard fuel, then appointing him as a chairman by removing the former chairman is not the solution to this problem. As a trade union, we state that this cannot be solved by merely changing chairs.
Dry weather conditions experienced since April 2012. 5,000 hectares of farmland affected by the drought. Ministry of Agriculture. It is difficult to retain water in tanks due to silt deposits. Minister of Irrigation and Water Management. Program commences to remove silt from tanks. We do not know if we will be able to cultivate in the Kalawava area in 1.5 months. There are only 2 months more for the Maha season. Can the authorities finish renovating the tanks before the Maha season?
A boat carrying 211 asylum seekers, including Sri Lankans bound for Australia, has capsized off the coast of Indonesia. International media reports say that the people on board were rescued by the Australian Navy. Meanwhile, the families of illegal migrants arrested here in Sri Lanka say that unemployment drives them to seek passage to Australia.
"13 persons who attempted to take the illegal sea route to Australia were arrested by the police today. The Venapur police said that the group that was arrested this morning comprised of residents of Jaffna, Mullatiu, Vaunia and Pudukkudi-Rippu. They were all between 19 and 40 years of age. The police say that more than 1,000 persons have been arrested this year for attempting to illegally migrate. Those arrested have been transferred to the Negombo, Trincomalee, Galle and Batticaloa prisons. 125 human traffickers are also in custody. At present, around 234 illegal migrants are incarcerated at the Negombo prison. We journeyed to the Negombo prison to find out more about these people.
Both my son and grandson are inside. They were arrested on the 28th after they said they were going to Australia. We only got to know after they were caught. It is only after they come out we can figure out who paid the money to. They have paid between 3 and 3.5 lakhs. He left home on the 26th. He was caught on the 27th. He was at sea for about 2 hours. He paid 3 lakhs.
This is not the first time. Before that also there are a lot of people have been, and some say that what happened, they couldn't find where about these people, and most of this what I am appearing for these particular village people, almost all of them are elite. They are not educated and they don't know to do any other job other than fishing.
I have a job. Where should I go? Will anyone leave Sri Lanka? No one will. They have paid the money to somebody in Negombo and Venapur to facilitate their passage. If people wish to leave, then they should follow the legal process. Their journey is not secure at all. No one knows what has happened to the people who left 6 months ago.
Well, UNP Deputy Leader Sajid Premdasa says that the government must take responsibility for the collapse of the education sector. He made this statement at a public rally held in Aranayaka today.
This government is engaged in a shameless activity. Not only that, they have even jumbled the term examinations. When the term examinations are jumbled, both the students and teacher unions have to while away their time in courts in order to protect our children's right to education.